What was the most intense experience you have ever had at a McDonald's? Went pretty late at night with 2 friends, but we were picking up for a big group. We ended up ordering about 20 McDoubles and 10 McChickens. The cashier was super flustered because they didn't have a lot of employees working at the time. The manager stepped in and started cranking out McDoubles at lightning speed. I've still never had a McDonald's order that efficient. There was a girl in the median at the stoplight I was at with a sign that said hungry. I was hungry too, so I rolled down my window and told her to meet me at the McDonald's and I'll buy her lunch, as it was just across the street. We met inside and she was very quiet. She ordered a meal and sat down. When our food came, I asked if it was alright if I sat with her and she said yes. I asked her a couple of get to know you type questions and she answered very normally, but she did mention several difficult things she was going through at the time. One of which was her recent ex-boyfriend. He was a bad dude, so she had run away. I asked if she was worried he would find her and she said no because he couldn't put on shoes. This sounded odd to me, so I asked her to explain. She then went into this long explanation of the computers in our brains that control our actions and how the government puts them there to keep tabs on us. Someone had apparently hacked said boyfriend's computer and disabled his ability to put on shoes, which prevented him from leaving the house. This was also her explanation for why she couldn't find a job, since you can't go to work without shoes on. Apparently her pink fuzzy slipper sandals didn't bother the computer. I told her I didn't have a computer in my brain and she just stared out the window and sighed. That's what they want you to think. I had to leave for an appointment, so I bought her a McDonald's gift card for later and left. Oh god. This also happens to be one of my most embarrassing moments. One time I went in and ordered a dine-in meal. I took my tray of food over to my table and had to cross a wet floor area. I slipped like someone on the movies, completely backward. Food flying over my head. The staff was nice enough to comp me a fresh meal. I start to take that tray over to the soda machine. Slip again, though this time I was able to save my food by sort of placing it on the counter as I was slipping. Couldn't save my pride though. A woman looked at me trying to pull myself up the second time and said, "Are you okay?" with a not very subtle tone of disgust. I think I was wearing new shoes and the soles were extra slick. But OMG. This might not be the story you were looking for, but once in high school on lunch break, me and 4 friends went to a McDonald's that was known for being a little sketchy, very inner city. We were all good friends, so we would always pool our money so everyone could eat. We could only come up with $5 between us, so everyone got one of those $1 chicken sandwiches they used to have, and we were not satisfied. Then as we were preparing to leave, a little old lady with a big smile came up to our table and said, "You know what I see here? Brotherhood." Weren't sure what she meant at first, but then we realized that our group consisted of 2 white kids, 1 black, 1 Asian, and 1 Indian, which would be something she didn't see much growing up when she was our age. She was so pleased she gave us another $5. We each got another sandwich. That was a good day. Had just finished a bartending shift in the market when I lived in Ottawa. I mean close bar, last call, clean and walk home. Decided to grab some breakfast. It was about 4. And yes, it was 99 Rideau. Place was a zoo, a madhouse. The order line was a mosh pit, all lines full and all the way across. But I was hungry. So I wait patiently in line while people are hooting and hollering. People are pushing and shoving, but I'm just waiting. And finally get up to that point, and I guess the staff had it. One of them gets up and loud and says, "Everyone out. They're closing for 15 minutes. No excuse or cleaning or anything." I was right there, about to order and starving. So I say to one of the cashiers looking like they were closing the cash and heading to the back and say something along the lines of, "Listen, I've been waiting in line, patient, and just finished a 10-hour shift. I've dealt with rowdy crowds like this. Respect. Think I can sneak a McMuffin combo?" And they said yes. Even yelled to the back when someone questioned why they were doing an order. But they okayed it and I left happy. Thanks 99 Rideau. My best friend has been with McDonald's for 8 years now. She runs 4 stores by herself, so she's in a pretty good position. She's also my ride or die best friend, and I believe everything she tells me. She called me once and told me they had an employee quit in the middle of a rush by standing on the counter, taking his shirt off, and yelling "Rise with me plebeians." Today we quit. Then just left. I would have loved to see that in person. I was on I-94 outside Detroit and stopped at McD for a snack. A female employee came from behind the counter and told me that 4 guys at a nearby table saw you driving in that fancy car and are going to rob you. I ran out the door. My wife and I were coming out of a McDonald's and walking toward our car. As I approached it, my driver's side opened and an elderly lady climbed out holding 2 iced coffees. My wife and I just stared at her and she said, "Oops, I got in the wrong car." She then walked to her car 2 spaces away that looked nothing like my car. We busted up laughing at her and might have made her feel bad. It was just so funny. I worked at McDonald's in high school. Once there was this new guy, I forget his name, let's call him D. He apparently went to the same high school as me, but I never even saw him. He'd worked there for about a week and he sucked at his job. Always showed up high and had no respect for the managers, but that's McDonald's for ya. One day, during a busy rush at about 5 PM, I'm working in the kitchen and D is up front pouring coffee. I see this well-dressed white man in his 50s step behind the counter, which I noticed because I hate when customers do that. The man grabs D's attention. The man says, "Are you D?" D says yes. Next thing I know, the man reaches into his shirt and pulls out a badge on a necklace. He grabs D, spins him around, and cuffs him. Suddenly 4 or 5 other customers in the lobby reach into their own shirts and pull out badges. They had D surrounded and dragged him out. It was all over in less than a minute. Turns out he was wanted for some shady stuff. The police called the day before and spoke to one of my managers about it, but she wasn't allowed to tell anyone. Needless to say, I never saw him again. Walked into a McDonald's in Detroit at the same time 2 other groups of customers came in. It was about 8 PM and far from closing time. The woman behind the counter looked at the clock, shook her head while throwing her hands up and yelled, "Hell mother frickin' no. It's time to close and I'm out this be in 10 frickin' minutes. Frick these people." Me and my co-worker promptly turned around and walked out. The other groups stayed, we believe. I didn't want to eat spit-filled McDoubles. Once saw a woman become irate and throw 4 cheeseburgers at the employee behind the counter because she ordered double cheeseburgers and only got single cheeseburgers. At the time singles were 99 cents and doubles were $1. She kept screaming, "It's only a penny more, why would you even think I wanted the singles? How stupid do I look?" That woman was my mother. I flew from ANC to Lax and tend to get travel sick. We were on our way to Disneyland and drove through Compton for some reason and I knew I was going to be sick, so we stopped at our MCD's so I could puke. There was a group of super sweet black ladies in the bathroom who held my hair while I projectile vomited. Wasn't a crazy experience or anything, but definitely the most interesting thing that happened in a McDonald's. I walk into the women's restroom and there's only one stall available. I go to use it. I end up hearing someone else come in and yell, "Damn it, I need to take a crap." I come out and see her with her pants down sitting trying to sit on the wall trash can to pop a squat and do her business. I no longer go to that McDonald's. A guy cut my mom and I in line at McDonald's and when she called him out he threatened to throw her in the deep fryer. Had someone do this in the drive-thru, I just patently waited until they attempted to place their order and honked the horn in a solid blast until they pulled away. Me and a friend went to a McDonald's at around 11 PM. That day they put in those ordering machines and they bring the food up to you. We thought that was great, but my McDonald's did something totally unexpected. They were nice to us. We walked in and the door was held open for us. Everyone was smiling way too wide. We were served and the server even came back around like it was diner. Me and my friend were totally creeped out. I left a tip. I wasn't sure if I should have. We have never been treated like that again at that McDonald's, which I am perfectly fine with. Stopped by one at 2 AM super drunk with my friend, my fiance, and his friend. I was easily the drunkest out of everyone. My fiance was DD, but the others had drank with me. Had a group of Asian Americans come in after us, likely coming in from clubbing downtown just like we had, and one threw their hands in the air, waved them wildly and shouted when they walked in, "It's an Asian invasion." It was quite the introduction. Afterwards, that group started talking with the guys while my friend and I went to the bathroom and I proceeded to vomit my brains out. Do you have any McDonald's stories you would like to share with us? Leave them in the comments below.